Hello guys, welcome to this video preamble of the Indian Constitution. So let's get started. This is our preamble which reads, "We the people of India have solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens justice, liberty, equality and fraternity." In our Constituent Assembly this 26th day of November 1949 do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this Constitution. Now let's get into the details. First is the introduction. The term preamble refers to the introduction or preface to the Constitution. It contains a summary or essence of the Constitution. It embodies the basic philosophy and fundamental values, political, moral, and religious, on which the Constitution is based. It contains the grand and noble vision of the Constituent Assembly and reflects the dreams and aspirations of the founding fathers of the Constitution. It is the most precious part and can also be called as the soul of the Constitution. It is a proper yardstick with which one can measure the worth of the Constitution. In second part, we'll discuss the components. First is the source of authority. The preamble states that the Constitution derives its authority from the people of India, the nature of Indian state. It declares India to be a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, and republican polity. Third, the objectives of the Constitution. It specifies justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity as the objectives. And fourth is the date of adoption, that is November 26, 1949. Next is amendment of the preamble. The preamble has been amended only once so far in 1976 by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, which has added three new words: socialist, secular, and integrity. Now let's discuss one by one all the keywords which are present in the preamble. First is sovereign. Sovereign implies that India is neither a dependency nor a dominion of any other nation. It is absolutely independent and not under the control of any other state. There is no authority above it and it is free to conduct its own affairs, both internal as well as external. Being a sovereign state, India can either acquire a foreign territory or cede a part of its territory in favor of a foreign state. Next is socialist. This implies a system which will endeavor to avoid concentration of wealth in a few hands and will assure its equitable distribution. Even before the term was added by the 42nd Amendment of the Constitution, had a socialist content in form of certain directive principles of state policy. There are two types of socialism: democratic and communist. The communist socialism involves the nationalization of all means of production and distribution and the abolition of private property. Democratic socialism holds faith in a mixed economy where both public and private sectors coexist side by side. It aims to end poverty, ignorance, disease, and inequality of opportunity. The Indian socialism is a blend of Gandhism and Marxism, which heavily leans towards the Gandhian socialism. The new economic policy of 1991 of liberalization, privatization, and globalization has, however, diluted the socialist credentials of Indian state. The next keyword is secular, which was added in 1976. However, India was always a secular state. All religions in our country, irrespective of their strength, have the same status and support from the state. Every citizen is free to follow and practice the religion of their choice. Discrimination based on religion is prohibited. There is no state religion. The state should protect all religions equally. Fourth term is democratic. It means that the power of the government is vested in the hands of the people. When the people exercise the supreme power directly through referendum, initiative, recall, and plebiscite, it is called direct democracy. When the representatives elected by the people exercise the supreme power, it is called indirect or representative democracy. Parliamentary and presidential are is two types. In India, we have representative parliamentary democracy, under which the executive is responsible to the legislature for all its policies and actions. Beyond political democracy, the preamble also envisages social and economic democracy. Republic, this is the fifth term. This means in India, the head of the state is always elected directly or indirectly for a fixed period of 5 years. The head of the state doesn't enjoy a hereditary position where he or she comes into office through succession. India has an elected head called president who is elected for a fixed period of 5 years. The political sovereignty is in the hands of people and not on a single individual like a king. There is privileged class. There is no privileged class and hence all public offices being open to every citizen without any discrimination. Sixth is justice. The preamble embraces social, economic, and political justice through the various provisions of fundamental rights and directive principles. Social justice denotes the equal treatment of all citizens without any social distinction based on caste, color, race, religion, sex, and so on. Economic justice denotes the non discrimination between people on the basis of economic factors. The combination of social and economic justice denotes what is known as distributive justice. Political justice implies that all citizens should have equal political rights, equal access to all political offices, and equal voice in the government. Seventh one is liberty. It means the absence of restraints on the activities of individuals and at the same time providing opportunities for the development of individual personalities. The preamble secures to all citizens of India liberty of expression, thought, belief, faith, and worship through their fundamental rights, enforceable in the court of law in case of violation. However, it doesn't mean license to do what one likes and has to be enjoyed within the limitations mentioned in the Constitution itself. Eighth point is equality. It means the absence of special privileges to any section of the society. There are three types of equality. First is civic equality. The Article 14 of the Constitution provides equality before the law. Article 15 prohibition of discrimination on grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. Article 16 equality of opportunity in matters of public employment. Article 17 abolition of untouchability. Article 18 abolition of titles. Political equality. The Article 325 mentions no one is to be declared ineligible for inclusion in electoral rolls on grounds of religion, race, caste, or sex. Article 326 mentions elections to Lok Sabha and the state assemblies to be done on the basis of adult suffrage. Economic equality. Article 29 mentions men and women have equal right to an adequate means of livelihood and there should be equal pay for equal work. Ninth one is fraternity and there is the term integrity also inside it. Fraternity means a sense of brotherhood. The Constitution promotes fraternity by the system of single citizenship. The fundamental duties say that it shall be the duty of every citizen of India to promote harmony and a spirit of common brotherhood amongst all the people of India transcending religious, linguistic, regional, or sectional diversities. The preamble declares that fraternity has to assure two things. First, the dignity of the individual, which means the Constitution not only ensures material betterment and maintain a democratic setup, but that it also recognizes that the personality of every individual is sacred. And the second is the unity and integrity of the nation. It embraces both the psychological and territorial dimensions of national integration. It aims at overcoming hindrance to national integration like communalism, regionalism, casteism, and so on. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please hit the like button and do subscribe to the channel for more such updates.